Hello and welcome to the Not a Guru podcast. I'm one of your podcast hosts, Tyler Smith, certified athletic trainer, certified strength and conditioning specialist. I'm also here alongside the prestigious Dr. Heidi Cook. We are here to help you with personal development, personal growth, and really building a foundation that lasts you your whole life. We're so excited you're here today, and let's jump in.
Howdy ho.
Good evening. How's the week been?
It's been goodish.
Good-ish. I feel like we're fluttering on the word good.
I don't know why. Just like, I don't know. I think I talked about it on my Instagram story a little bit. I don't know if it's like the back end of travel. I don't know if it's because I've been getting kind of some poopy sleep because Cal isn't sleeping. I don't know if it's Cal is actually having surgery on
I saw that.
Friday. What's today? Wednesday. So 2 days from now. Um, so I don't know if like it's that upcoming, but like I have just been like a mental mess this week.
Uh-oh. Is surgery
Today
like
today
in and
has
out
been a
like day
better
patient surgery? Like just
say
go
that
in,
again.
uh surgery is like just day in, get it done, get
Yeah.
it day out
Yeah,
type
it's
stuff.
an
Okay.
outpatient procedure. I mean, we will be there the majority of the day, it sounds like, but we should be able to go home that day,
Well, that's
barring
good.
everything goes well. But yeah, so I don't know if I think it's just the fact that like I don't know what like the recovery aftermath is going to be like. And he also has to go under general anesthesia, which I'm just like, ugh, I
Right.
hate. He's just so tiny.
Well, I think it does like in just you talking, I mean, it's definitely a combination of both. Like when you're not getting good sleep, that always attests to just being a little laggy throughout the day. But the other thing is,
Yeah.
and I think I know I'm guilty of it. When you have something heavy that's weighing on your mind, it like just, it's almost like it uses more energy throughout the day because you like
Yeah.
move in and out of it, but it keeps coming back and your brain keeps having that. And
Having
so
to
it's
like
almost
work
like
through it.
fatiguing. It's like you're doing something and you're not, but it, like mentally you're going through it all the time and your body's just preparing for something, all the time.
Yeah. Yeah. That's kind of how I've been feeling. So, yeah, this week has just kind of been a little meh, but today I have felt better today, like mentally. I think I don't think I've ever been like so attuned to my mental state after like since having a kid. And I think it's just because like so many like curveballs are thrown your way like on a daily basis. And I can tell how well I'm doing mentally based on like how I adapt and or like take on those curveballs, right? And it's like not something I had to deal with before. So even if I was like worried about something or had, kind of a mentally like blah day, I wasn't like constantly getting these curveballs thrown at me to where like my ability to take them on was on display 24/7. So anyways, yeah, it's just been kind of a lot this week, but I went to bed early last night, got a good night's sleep. Cal slept okay-ish last night and napped well today. So I'm feeling better today. I was able to like get some things actually accomplished, which has also been weighing on me. I think that's the hardest thing when like he naps, it's not even, or when he doesn't nap, it's not even like, oh, I need a break from him or oh, I need, whatever. It's just like when he doesn't nap or like I have to go help him nap constantly, I don't have any time to like accomplish work.
Yeah. Well, and do you know what's a trip about that you talked about? And you'll probably once he gets older, you'll experience this too. What's crazy is when you are tired or like, someone at work, say Tyler pissed off Heidi and she's upset, like, and you have this negative energy and you're carrying it with you and you're doing stuff. And then all of a sudden, like your child picks up on that. And then
Uh-huh.
you see it reflected in their behavior and you're like,
Uh-huh.
what is wrong? Like, why are you acting like this? And then Lindsay's really attuned to that. And she's like, well, you came home like this. And then he picked up on that. And all of a sudden you're like, why is Quentin being a little shit right now? And it's like,
Yeah,
because they're picking up on that negative energy that you
a
have. And
hundred
all of a
percent.
sudden And then it helps you snap out of it though. You're like, okay, well, I got to stop this because
Yeah.
if that's what I'm like, I need to, you're like, it throws that switch and you're like, I can't do that.
I think kids are like big time energy mirrors. And like if I'm having an off day, it seems like those are the days that like Cal is struggling worse, and which like also doesn't help the situation, right? But like I think it is him just like picking up on my energy. So today we just got up and we started having a great day, and we had a great day from start to finish. So,
Well, if you think about it, it makes a lot of sense because they can't usually two things. They usually can't verbally or emotionally like regulate themselves.
hmm,
So like as a survival instinct, you're going to pick up on
totally.
negativity and all that stuff just for survival to make sure like dad's on a rampage, I got to stay clear, and then they'll be quiet and timid and do all that stuff because
Hmm.
their home, their homeostasis is thrown off and they're trying to find a way to adapt.
Yeah. And like when they're a little baby, there's so much like co-regulation that happens within their nervous system and stuff. So, um, yeah, it is so interesting, like how much that's reflected. But anyways, feeling much better today, which I'm thankful for. Yesterday was like Sunday, and yesterday were just like weirdly tough days. And I really do think it's just anxiety about his
Sure,
procedure on Friday. So
absolutely.
all the good thoughts and vibes that
I
just
will
goes
send them your way.
smoothly with
Yep.
no hiccups, and we can just get
We will
in,
all send them your way.
get out, and that recovery goes smoothly. That's another thing that's weighing on me is like, talking to them, it's like, some kids, just like bounce back really quickly. But some other kids, it can take like up to 2 weeks for them to kind of return back to their normal selves. So I don't know. I'm
You're like,
just,
let's please not have that one.
yeah.
Let's do the bounce back quick.
Yeah. So I'm just like a little anxious, and it's just like a change to routine. Like he can't take a bath for, however long because of the incision, and
So we just take
then
them out back and hose them down real quick.
yeah, right. And so
Or the
it's just like
sink.
little
Use the
things. But
sink.
he loves his little nighttime
Yeah.
bath. It's like part of our routine. So it's just like, I don't know, like things that are on in the big picture, like really unimportant, right? Like we just need him to have a successful procedure and everything go well, and we can just move forward. But uh the it's like all the other little things of like that, like once we get through that hurdle, what's gonna come next that I is like I think it's the unknown that's a little
I just thought of something. When
nerve-wracking.
is his birthday is in, or I should know this.
May
May.
21st.
Has anyone bought him? Quentin got some and he loved them. The little like you put batteries in them in the bathtub and then you just let them go and they swim around your bathtub and they like hit the wall and come back.
No, it's so funny story though. Most kids have been taking a bath in like the tub
Sure.
for a long time up until this point.
Sure.
But Sam and I have just held true. We have this like countertop bathtub that you like fill up.
Yeah.
And I mean, like, we've been bathing him in that up until this week.
Oh, really?
He's
I'm
almost 10
buying him
months.
some of those. I
He's
thought they
almost
were
10 months
awesome and
old.
Quentin would watch him. And I was like, this is the, why didn't they have this cool stuff when I had it?
Yeah. So it's like we should have moved to the big tub a long, long time ago, just like for
Yeah.
fun for him. But it's just been so easy to like bring out this little tub and he splashes around. And we went through phases where he would basically like kick and splash so much that like the entire kitchen would be soaked. And every time I'd be like, oh, I should really move him to his tub. And then the next night we'd just do the countertop bath again. And so it's just a funny cycle of that. But this week finally I was like, we really need to get him into the big
Yeah.
tub.
We really
um
need to change this up.
yeah, so we did that this week, and he's been loving it. But right now we're rocking with, have you seen, it's like a little elephant that has like a little sprayer on it. It's almost, but it has like a pump in the bottom and a little
Yeah, I think I
hose.
remember those. Yes.
Yeah. So he has one of those, which he thinks is just so fun. And then he has boats. And then we have like a set of like farm animals. For whatever reason, the llama has been his bath companion since he was like 3 months old. Um,
Nice.
So the llama has made it as well. But right now, so yeah, it's just a spray elephant, some like fun cups to pour,
Yeah.
and boats.
Nice.
But anyways, so that's what's been going on in our house. How's your week? You're on quote unquote spring break.
Spring break, quote unquote. Oh, crazy thing that happened today. I was going to share this. Uh, you know how Facebook has those reminders like,
Yeah,
hey,
like
this
memory
happened.
time hop things.
Yeah. 5 years ago, I don't know if it was actually when it happened, but it popped up that I put it on Facebook. It said 5 years ago today is when we did our first when I did my guest appearance on the podcast. It like showed because I posted about it,
Oh my
and
God.
and it was crazy because I was like, that was really 5 years ago. That is, it just blew my mind for a minute. I was like, that is
That
time goes
feels like
real
a
fast.
lifetime ago and also yesterday.
Yeah. So that was interesting. Yeah. So this is like spring break for us.
Yeah.
I'm heavy on the quotations on spring break because it really hasn't changed anything. In fact, I'm going out of town to Sacramento tomorrow, so my spring break will be in Sacktown, working track. Equally as exciting as, spring break in Florida or anywhere with a fun, exciting location. It's not bad. The hardest part about spring break for me is just a couple things. One, Quentin has spring break and both Lindsay and I are working. So he's just stuck at home by himself, which usually means that, he's trying, and we've tried to like, hey, are your friends doing anything? Can I drop you off? Do you want to? And like crickets, like nothing is going on. They're either out of town or,
Yeah.
but so by the time you get home, he's kind of like, I don't know, kids get this little like spend too much time by themselves, need stuff to do, energy around them where they just turn into like kind of little shits for a while. And you're like, okay, we need to get you outside. You need to do something. Um, but it's just like it's hard and it sucks because I can't help him. I'm at work all day. I brought him today because it was a lighter day, but
That's fun.
um, he doesn't want to hang out with me at work for 8 to 9 hours every day. And
Yeah.
although I did make him do rehabs today, so I was like, hey, you do this, you go over here, do this, and he was like, oh, okay. I was like, hey, you're going to be productive for me today because I don't have any help. So not bad. It's just it was the first day was a little sad and depressing where like everyone in my office was gone. My coworker was sick and it was just me and like it's spring break. So the
Yeah.
building is pretty much empty minus the two sports that are going. And so you're just there and you're kind of getting this little like, oh, this is not as much fun as spring break should be. But we got through it. We got our training done. We have a meet at the end of the weekend and here comes outdoor. So we're in it.
I'm a knockin'.
Yeah,
Did
just
you make a
coming.
bracket? Are you allowed to make a bracket? Can
I
you
have
make a
one at
bracket? You just
home.
can't put money on it
Yeah,
or
I always do one at home for like Lindsay, Quentin, and I kind of we easy NCAA. We bet, but like the winner gets to pick dinner,
yeah.
like when it's all over. Like you get to pick the restaurant we go to.
Yeah.
Um, but that's about as much as we go. And like, yeah, there's some games and sad to say our Boise State Broncos did not make it to the bracket this year. They're playing
Yeah.
in some weird game called Tournament for the Crown for like a crown and $300,000, and it's some NIL thing in Vegas at the end of the month. So um, still get to watch them play a little bit. It's just an interesting time. There's a lot of different stuff going on, but it's always one of my favorite because at least on the weekends it gives me something to watch. And I'm a huge fan of whatever Cinderella team pops up and does stuff. That's always so exciting to me. Um, but I don't know if you ever feel this way because you went to the same school. Like you watch these schools and then you're like, why can't that be us? Like this small school out of nowhere is in the Sweet 16.
Yeah.
Why is that not us? So you're always like, you just wish it so bad to be
Yeah.
your school, but so far has not happened.
Yeah, I feel like we've had good years and we've had like good chances. Like we've got into the mix before, but
I mean, I will say
I
this,
love
we've never
Boise
won a
State.
game. Yeah, we've never won a game in the tournament.
Yeah, I love Boise State, but like we have never been a basketball school.
Pretty much. The
I mean,
one exception
we've
I've
won
heard
the
is like
Mountain West.
in like
Like,
the 80s we were. Like the
okay.
80s, I heard it was hopping and football was just a hot dumpster fire in the back.
Yeah.
But then it kind of flipped. And to their credit, there have been a lot of times like so I used to work basketball for anyone listening that doesn't know. And I was there a couple times when we played. We played De La Salle the year that they made the Sweet 16 and we didn't even know who they were and they made it to the Sweet 16, so we ran into a really good team there. And then I was there the year we played Dayton in the first four, which is in Dayton, Ohio, which we could have won, but we were just we had a home game, and since they've said that you can't do that anymore, that's not fair. And I was like,
Mhm.
no shit, you shouldn't get a home game. And but they do get bad draws. Like that one year we played
Yeah.
Memphis when they had just two studs. I was like, really? You're gonna throw us up against Memphis right now? So
Yeah. I
and
remember
last year they
that.
had Colorado. That was a good team, but I mean, you still got to try to win who's in front of you. So
Yeah. I I feel like when we were there, when I was in school there, like I still wouldn't say we were a basketball school, but like we won the Mountain West Championship that year,
yeah,
or 2 years in a row, was it? It was the year I
it's
was
just
working with
one.
you with basketball.
I think it's just one.
Okay. I thought it was two. Man, I'm misremembering something. So we won the Mountain West Championship that year, and then was it that same year we made it into the tournament, but then we lost in the first round.
Yeah, I think
And then
that's the
but like
year.
that has happened multiple years where like we'll make it into the
Yeah,
first round and
yeah, or the first four or something like
yeah, yeah,
that,
yeah.
which is kind of. I don't know. I feel like there's a conspiracy. Someone on that committee does not like our school and throws
Yeah.
us in there a lot. So
Yeah. Anyways, well, it's been quite the journey. Oh, want
wait
to
a
hear
minute.
something?
Pause. You said we were confessing something.
Oh, I just thought it would be funny, but we had plenty to talk about.
Okay, got it. Kidding.
If you want
Delete
to
that
hear
from
what
your
my
mind.
confession was anyways, it's that I forgot to brush my teeth this morning. Super gross.
That was your confession.
Yeah.
I thought it was way more exciting than that.
Nope. Just
No,
my confession of the week. I forgot to brush my teeth this morning and I feel like I have sweaters on my teeth.
which is like
Disgusting.
the disgusting analogy. Just have sweaters right here. They
Yeah.
look great from this angle, so don't worry about
Thanks. Thank you. Pearly whites. Um, okay, so I made that segue.
it. Yeah.
What a journey it has been. But want to hear something crazy?
What?
So that trip that we go on every year is a trip for Sam's work. It's like an incentive deal. So I mean, we've been going for 10 years now, 9 years now, something like that. Anyways, 10 years. Every night, the last night is like a gala. We call it Fed prom night.
I,
um, and like, everybody gets really dressed up. There's like a nice, dinner, blah, blah, blah. And then there's like a party at the end. And I mean, like, one year they had Creed come and
the band?
yes, Creed. Yes. So I went home early. Remember, I was only there for 3 nights, so I missed prom night this year. Um, the lead singer of Journey
Like the
came.
original? Really?
The OG lead singer of Journey came and
Wow.
played and brought the house down.
I was gonna say that would be kind of cool.
They you got to give them credit where credit is due, and they usually do a phenomenal job on that last night getting somebody cool. They had oh, why am I blanking on his name? They had a country music artist as well come out. Like very well known country music artist. Mm,
That would help, but I
why am I blanking? Um, I can't remember. It's unimportant. Anyways,
That's a
Journey.
fun journey.
That's who I wanted to talk about. But
Journey
yes,
about journey for the journey.
for the journey. Well, anyways, today's topic I thought would be fun to chat about, kind of like a continuation a little bit of last week's episode. It sparked some conversation with one of our avid listeners. Um, and he
Avid
was
listeners.
he was talking about he proposed this idea before even last week's episode had come out. I was like, oh, that's so interesting. We talk about that a little bit in a little bit of a different context. Um, about we talked, about like the uh embracing like the journey and how like, the destination is always this like pie in the sky, but if we can't find like happiness within the journey itself, then like we're never gonna feel like we got anywhere, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So anyways, he was talking about it in the sense of exercise, and how there's always like this. We often talk about being like goal driven, right? Like finding a why, a deeper purpose, a deeper meaning, like tying it into something like that, um, to help individuals get started and like build that behavior. Um, and he was talking about like, well, what about like somebody who doesn't necessarily have like a big fitness goal or a big, like nothing that I'm like training for or, anything like that, but I still just like show up and exercise every day. And that sparked an interesting conversation of, well, there's still some underlying purpose, right? Like you wouldn't just do something to do it. Um, it was more along the lines of like, well, if I go a long time without, I don't feel good or I would go crazy or, blah, blah, blah. And, kind of this idea of like that being his baseline. Anyways, all of this to say, I think there are two kind of flip sides to the coin, when it comes to like, yes, we need to focus on the journey, but how do we do that for individuals who don't have the behavior developed yet? Um, and like, how do we help them connect those dots to build the behavior so that it can like be an integrated part of their journey? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Because I
And I
don't
think,
think it's as simple as just like, this was something I said in the conversation was like, if it was simple to be like, well, this is just something that I do, and everybody felt that way, then we would not be in the position that we're in health wise in America right now, right? Like
right.
I've said over and over and over again, if you ask 10 people on the street, it's better to be sedentary, it's better to be active. 10 times out of 10. No, like nobody's going to be like, oh, it's better to live a sedentary lifestyle, you
Yeah.
know? But a quarter, I don't know what it is for the entire population, but I know a quarter, it's less than a quarter, it's like 23% of women are getting the recommended amount of movement per week. So it's like there's a clear disconnect between what we know and like what we should quote unquote be doing
Sure.
and what we're actually executing on. So if it was just as simple as like, we'll just go do it,
Right.
what a revelation, you know? I don't think, I think there is a disconnect for people who haven't established that level of like personal accountability in that particular behavior yet.
Well, and I think that a perfect example of this is like, let's just then like having the knowledge or knowing, like, let's look at the internet. You can find almost anything in the world you want to know or find out or learn about on the internet. But like, even in your example of like, we know all the benefits, you can go online right now and look at the benefits, and there's no questioning that you can gain the knowledge, but that is still not triggering the behavior. So it's much more complex than just having the knowledge, which can be tricky. And there's a couple different ways I think we can attack this, because the first thing that when you had talked about, and if I reflect a little bit on my own journey, is like, it is something I do, but it was also kind of a learned behavior. It's not something I think that we just, it's that whole, it takes 90 days to break in
Mhm.
a new routine. But I think I don't know why this is stuck in my head. So if it makes no sense, please disregard, and
Mhm.
you can tell me. I almost started to look at my journey as like driving from one side of the United States to the other. And when I started fitness, I had different locations that I wanted to see. Like, like I had different goals. I want to race in this and I want to do this. And all of a sudden, like I started bouncing around, and it moved from, um, like all these different plans, like he was saying, like a goal or a race or something, into
Mhm.
like this appreciation for just getting out and traveling and seeing things. And now it's less of where's my next destination, as to where's this journey going to take me. And I'm doing it because I have, like you said, it has been this ingrained thing where I love to just do it. And so the idea of not doing it is more foreign to me than actually doing it. But I know it is not as simple as, and we've worked with people, as that easy, to get people in that behavior pattern.
Yeah. And so I think, we talk about it is, how do I say this? It's interesting to see how like challenges and things can be really positive, but also really negative. And I think it all hinges on how we approach it, right? So I used to be a big challenge person. And then I was like, big anti-challenge person. And then I think as I've gotten older, I think I've just kind of like mellowed out on a lot of things. And
Well,
it's
the
kind of
question I would
like,
ask during that is like, what is the context? Like, what do you mean by challenge? Like,
like,
how would you
uh,
contextually put that for someone listening?
like a 30-day
Okay. Yeah.
movement challenge. So like Sam recently was like, he just needed to kind of like, he needed a slump buster, right?
Sure.
Like he was just in a slump. He was not making time to work out, to exercise. Like he was really struggling to like make it happen and make it happen in like a consistent enough way where he was seeing any progress. And so he kind of worked out his day where he was like, I think the only way I'm going to do it and I'm going to do it consistently is if I get up um like early in the morning and work out before I go to work. Great. So like we've established that he kind of figured that out.
Sure.
But then it was like really hard to wake up if he didn't really have to wake up yet, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
for him, it was almost like, I'm going to work out every single day for, however long. And I'm just going to keep this streak alive because, like, if I make it a non negotiable in my head that I'm getting up and getting down to the gym and getting movement in, then, like, I don't have a way out. I can't just sit here and snooze my alarm. And so for him, it was almost about like building this kind of streak, right? But like I have peppered into him, right? Like if we miss a day, or if, we need a rest day, or if we like, you know, the thing that is hard about those challenges is like when it's over, right? What happens on day 31? Or what happens if you miss a day? Is it all a wash and now we just quit?
Right.
Right, so it's like really entering into it with the correct mindset. And so far it's been great. Like um he's been doing a great job. He took a couple of days where like his movement was just getting out and going for our evening walk together. So and like, and then after those 2 days he was, right back into it in the gym. So it's like he needed that to kind of break the cycle that he was in. And I think for a lot of people, like that can be helpful, whether it's like training for a marathon or, getting 30 days of consistent movement in or doing a 30-day core strength, whatever, like that could be around a more specific goal that you have. Like, I think all of that can be great with the correct mindset because it can be the like cycle interrupter that we need. But again, like my fear and sometimes the issue I have with certain challenges and especially how certain challenges are structured is, you know, what happens when it's over, right? Did
Yeah.
we just participate in a challenge or did we create a behavior? And I think those are two very different things. And I think a lot of it falls on your intention in how you enter into the challenge itself. And so, like, I think it is good sometimes to have that goal, but I think we have to know and understand that, like, as we're chasing that goal, we need to have some enjoyment, so we need to find some meaning in the journey itself.
Right.
Otherwise, when we either achieve that goal or even if we fall short of that goal, we need to like not let the whole thing crumble away.
What's interesting when you were talking, and this was like and I'm trying to be a little bit more self-aware, but like even when you said the word challenge, like, and this is probably saying more about me than anything else. I think even breaking down how that feels to you when you say challenge, I feel like some people will be like, yeah, like I'm excited about that word challenge. And there are people that are on me that it's been used, I don't want to say in a negative context, but when you say the word challenge, I think of automatically work and people like puffing their chest up and being like, that's, like almost like in a negative context instead of like something positive where it's like, okay, this is a challenge to, like you said, to break your slump, to change a behavior pattern. And so for me, even that word, and then you flipped it and you said, what is your goal? And that for me put on like a different, just general emotion. Like
Yeah.
goals, yes, I'm awesome. If you say I'm challenging you, I feel like you're, sounds bad. Maybe this is just me. Like it's almost an attack on me. Like you're not good enough. You need to do something better versus like a goal to me even feels like, okay, this is something I'm going to do to better myself. Not that I'm in a bad place.
Yeah.
I just need to shake something up. So what is a good goal? And some of those things I think I've worked and talked with people like you said, if we have a streak, I think the best thing to do is like, okay, it ended. Okay, that's fine. Let's start a new one. Or let's like, what's our next one is like being able to switch those gears and not like put so much on the finale, but just like what's the next process and be thinking about that a little bit earlier.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I think like we can have that cycle interrupter, that goal, that thing that we're working towards, but similarly to what this listener brought up is that like we can't like we can also just do things for the sake of doing things because they make us feel good, right? Like I think that's very much how I am approaching exercise right now in this season of my life is just like I literally just need to get down into the gym 5 days a week and move my body and do it at a level that sustains my heart rate because that's what makes me feel the best. Uh and I'm gonna do some cardio because that achieves that piece for me, which really helps my mental state. I'm going to do a couple of days of strength training because I like to feel strong and that also feels really good to me. And I'm going to do a little wild card day that's either kind of a makeup day for a day that was a challenge, shuffling Cal around, or it ends up being like a mobility day or something where I can still just like give back to my body a little bit. So it's like, but at the same time, like there's a goal rooted in that. Like my goal is to just move my body to feel good and to like maintain my mental health.
Right.
And like that's still a goal, you know?
Right.
And so I think some people might think that like a goal has to be training for something, has to be like physique oriented, weight loss oriented, um, whatever it might be, like aesthetically oriented. Um, but it doesn't, right? Like we can just set goals for ourselves because I know that if I am getting consistent movement and I feel good, or I feel better than when I don't. And so my goal is to just simply do that movement. And then I structure it in a way that like keeps me engaged and entertained. But like I feel like we can even extrapolate this conversation beyond just exercise, right? Like whether it is like whatever personal development you are looking for, whether that's a behavior that you want to kind of interject, like let's say reading before bed or um, working, on your business or whatever it might be. Like, I think it's okay to have this like kind of underlying meaning or goal for it without having to be like, I'm gonna read 3 books this month, or I'm gonna reach X revenue goal this month, or whatever. It's like I'm. It could just be like I'm showing up to, help people in this capacity, and I know that like if I show up in my business consistently, I'm going to be able to execute that and help those people. And like it could be as simple as that. And it can be as simple as like, I am just going to read before bed because it helps me sleep better because I'm not scrolling or, whatever. Like we can just lean into the journey a little bit more and see where it takes us without it having to be this like big do or die thing. Because when we either reach that goal, like I even struggled with that if I think back like on my business in the earlier days when I first hit like this big revenue goal that I had been working for and working for and working for, and I finally got it and I got
Mhm.
there and it came and it went. I was kind of like I had a moment of probably a month-long moment of like, now what?
Yeah.
Like I did it. Now what? It was kind
Yeah.
of like I felt a little lost after that. And so it's like, I think that can be said in a lot of goals that we set for ourselves. If we're not rooted in like why we're chasing after that particular goal, we can feel a bit lost uh, once we've either achieved it or fallen short of it.
I think the other thing, and it's probably a much simpler take on it, is and I'm gonna butcher the quote, but it was something along the lines of the person, the man, the woman who walks for the enjoyment of walking is going to walk farther than the person who walks for a destination. And sometimes like to the person that was talking to us, it can be as simple as like I enjoy it. That's why I do it. And I think if you looked at it deeper, you're going to connect it to a lot of different positive things in your life. Like this is the catalyst to put me like, working out is the catalyst that puts me in a good mood, that makes me feel better, that like makes me a better husband. It makes me, like all these things. And, reading a book, I just simply enjoy it. So that's a hobby that I've done. And it drives, that enjoyment can drive you further than any of the quote unquote goals or challenges because and I think it works both ways. Sometimes those blend into this enjoyment and things that you like to do because you've learned to do them, but sometimes it can go the other way. You can just enjoy that and then all of a sudden you're like, "Huh, you know what? Maybe I would run a 5K. I had never thought about that, but I've
Mhm.
enjoyed walking. I've enjoyed being outside. My dog needs exercise. Maybe we start jogging and just see where it goes." So I think, well, and I think you will find or establish a goal or a reason throughout all this, but it doesn't have to be, to your point, it can start simple and build into something more complex and deep, or it can go the other way. Like, and that's what I think is nice about it is if you can just build the routine, it can be as simple as I just like walking, and then all of a sudden health and all these other things follow. Or you could look at it at, you know, I need to do X, Y, and Z, and this is a catalyst to get me to move. But I'm a big advocate. I've told you guys a lot. Like I learned through competitive whatever obstacle course racing, softball, all this slow pitch softball. Let's not get crazy here. I'm an old man. Um, but I learned a long time ago. I'm much like that person that talked to you. I just really enjoy the process. Like I just do. I don't need those things to validate what I'm doing, or, like sometimes it sounds bad. Those things create stress for me. And this is supposed to be something that I just enjoy doing. And when I
Mhm.
put a goal on the end of that, it creates more stress during the activity that I love to do, because I'm like, oh, well, crap, I got to be get this amount of mileage in because I got to be ready for this. And then um, it can just go so many different ways. But I think it can be there for its own simplicity or its own sake.
Yeah, I 100% agree. Uh, I think the simplicity piece, like that little word that you just put on the end there, like, I think we can, I think we're really good as humans at like overcomplicating things and letting the like overcomplication be almost like a barrier to actually starting the thing,
Oh, 100%. How many,
right?
we deal with that 100 times with clients.
Yeah. And so it's like uh, the simplicity or the ease of it, I think is sometimes like scary for people because that just means you then just have to simply go do the thing and you can't spend days, weeks, months, tinkering on the front end as a procrastination tool to like actually doing the thing. And so like that simplification is, I think, like what we need to actually take action, instead of like fussing around sometimes. And I think that's so key and like such a good little nugget that you just threw out there.
I was bound to have one sooner or later. So
It was
no,
bound-
but I
it
mean,
was-
and with that, I always try to tell people is, and they like this too, is like, when we had the discussions about how do I get in, I don't feel like I have energy to go work out. I just don't feel like it. And I told them, like, energy creates energy. You're not going to get it out of nowhere. We have to build something. We have to be able to, in the journey, it's like, you know, sometimes the destination matters, sometimes it doesn't. But like, let's create some momentum and just start walking. Let's start at a direction, and the direction's a lot of times more important than the distance we cover. And if we're doing something that is ultimately going to help us, just point yourself in the right direction and let's just start down that way.
yeah. Yeah. I I agree wholeheartedly. I think while this particular individual had a really good perspective in terms of like, well, I just do it and I'm just in it. I'm just in this
Yeah.
journey and that's it. There is nothing else, right? Like uh I think, there is something underlying there in terms of like why we're actually doing it. That doesn't mean that we're chasing after some big goal, but like we're just simply doing it because that's what feels good to us.
Yeah.
I think that is so powerful. But for individuals who haven't developed the behavior to where it does feel good to them yet, right? Because there
Yeah.
is that beginning stage of like discomfort when we are breaking out of your kind of homeostasis. If that homeostasis is sedentary, like there's going to be some discomfort that comes with kind of shaking that up. Same on the flip side, right? If our homeostasis is movement, it feels really uncomfortable for us to be stationary for a long time. So I think in that, it can be helpful to interject, like I said, some of those kind of cycle interrupters. But again, I think the most important thing is to keep perspective of what the journey really is and that it's not going to end on the other side of whatever challenge we're participating in or whatever goal we're seeking to achieve. I don't think it's bad to chase after something, but I think if we're not enjoying the chase, it's going to fall apart once the goal is kind of put in our face.
Yeah, I think in his case, hers case, uh it might just be as simply as you enjoy it, and that's what makes you happy. And a lot of times happiness is probably best enjoyed in simplicity. Happiness is simple. And so it could just be that you like to do it and that's a wonderful thing to have. Like, and if we can teach more people that it might just be that simple, then I think it, like you said, it prevents people from overthinking and not starting and not doing something, which I enjoy.
I agree. I agree. I agree. I agree. I think this was good.
Shout out.
Shout out to that podcast topic creator. Um, I think I think this was good because I think it's maybe not that simple, but it can be.
But it can be no, and it can be more complex and more like it's a spectrum of complete simplicity to way on the other side.
Yeah, yeah, 100%. I think this was a good conversation. And hopefully, maybe made you think about if you're in that kind of cycle of being sedentary or just feeling stuck, whether that's actual physical sedentariness.
Sedentary dentation. I don't know.
So, if you're actually being sedentary, or if you're just feeling stagnant in, your personal development, or, um, in your career or business or whatever it might be, um, throwing in one of those kind of cycle interrupters might be a good way to get the ball rolling, but not losing sight of what is it that we're really wanting out of this. And likely it's pretty simple.
Absolutely. I agree.
Okay. Thank you guys for tuning in this week. I love it as always. It's a highlight of the week for sure. And we'll see you guys next time.
Thanks for being here.